Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By episode 165.
Woo!
Holy fuck. This week, we are dedicating our entire shebang to the Maquis, parts 1 and 2.
And regretting it immediately.
Except not completely, because Jake's back!
Yay!
He's Jake.
Ah!
So, Jake.
Actually, we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, right.
Because now we know Jake is here, but who are we?
I don't fucking know. This is Chris.
Okay, this is Ames.
Alright, I'm Caitlin.
Good.
I'm James.
Oh, James is back.
I thought you were going to say, I'm Jake.
I'm not a permanent member, I swear.
And I'm Jake.
Yes.
Wow,
Sounds
your
just like
impression
him.
was really good, James.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna launch into the theme. Good enough. And Ames suggested that Jake give us his thoughts briefly as realistically possible about the episodes
25
he wasn't able to talk about.
Okay, what was the first one?
First one was Shadow Play, which is...
I know what Shadow Play is.
Well, remind us, because I've forgotten.
Yeah,
so
me too.
that's the one...
Oh, it's the one with the hologram planet, right?
Why did you ask me?
I wanted to know if you knew, but then I remembered I knew.
I genuinely couldn't remember.
I
Yes,
didn't
thank you,
know.
Hologram
Yeah,
Planet.
that's
Now
a
I
good
remember.
one. I like that one. That's a good show.
Kenneth Mars.
Who was that?
Sure. And, the Bruno Mars musical interlude was a little strange, I'll admit, but it was alright.
I dug it.
I don't know, I like the... I thought it was a little nice little thing. It had like a little bit of shades of gray. No, inner light a little bit for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, Inner Light, and that's the one where Picard has
he goes
a
through-
10-minute nap where he learns everything about culture and
because,
And
it kind
flutes.
of dealt with the same
Learns
thing.
about flutes.
We have this whole society that's not really there. I don't know. And the old man that created it always makes me very sad.
Because his granddaughter doesn't actually exist?
No,
She's
well, because at a point he's like, well, just leave it off and take me back to my home.
I'm dying anyway, fuck these people.
Yeah, and then like Odo has to convince him that no, they're real, damn it.
Yeah, to fill Jake
It's
in.
real to me, damn it.
To fill Jake in, I remember the rest of us being like, very perplexed by how willingly these people just accepted that they were holograms. They're like, well, I guess we just have to be holograms
Guess
from
we
now
just
on.
have to get used to life as holograms.
Shrug.
I think I settled on they just hadn't been programmed to be able to have existential crises.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I wish I hadn't
think
been
that's
programmed
probably
for that
close.
shit.
Oh man, that'd be the life. Or the lack of life.
It'd be fucking awesome.
I don't think we discussed though because he doesn't want the rest of them to know that he's a hologram.
No, that he's not a hologram.
That he's not. So it's gonna be really awkward when he dies, and they're like, "Oh shit, he left behind meat."
They would leave behind a body.
They would leave behind holographic meat.
Otherwise, they would have known that they weren't hologram.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like
people.
I imagine like there'll be some sort of difference where they'll be able to go like, "Wait a second."
Probably not.
I don't see why.
They
Why
just
would there
bury
be?
him and be done with it.
Anyone that dies leaves behind a body.
No, I know. I imagine. I don't know.
No.
Anyway, sorry. Go on, Jake.
Okay, what was the other next episode?
Playing God, the one with the new trill. And the
Yeah.
proto-universe.
The loser nerd trill.
So I really like the
Oh, what a fucking dweeb.
the loser nerd trill guy. I thought was an idiot. I didn't care for him.
He sucked.
Didn't like that whole angle. The idea of the proto universe is very interesting, and I wish it had been explored in a
Fleshed out
better
at all.
episode.
Yeah. Not wasted on this. What was next?
The one with Garrick.
Oh,
Fuck, what one was it?
The resistance,
Yeah, yeah.
civilian
His
resistance.
wife.
Cardassian.
Yeah. And
Quark's
Quark's
girlfriend.
girlfriend. What was it called?
Natima? Oh, that's the girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't know what
you
the
remember her
episode
name
is.
though. That's more than I remember.
For
Anyway,
me, that's pretty
I
good,
don't know what
really.
the show is called either.
I've got it.
you?
It was. I do. It was Profit and Loss.
Oh, yeah,
That's
Profit and Loss.
right.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
So long ago.
It was we got an interesting side to Quark here. Not a great look for Garrick until the end.
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
But you had a theory, Jake, that Garrick was in on it all along, or something.
Well,
right?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It could have been an opportunist thing, but at the same time, I feel like Garrick knew that the guy that visited him, the Cardassian guy, that was like, all right, now step 2, you're gonna kill him.
Except 3 profit.
Like, yeah, I think Garrick was like, okay, yeah, I'll turn these people in, and that'll get me back in good with the Cardis, and I'll get to go home. And then when the guy came and said, all right, now just one more thing.
That was Oda.
Yeah, I think that's when he realized oh yeah, no, they're not letting me back. They're just stringing me along.
They're playing me.
They're gonna kill me.
Sons of bitches.
So I think the only reason he showed up in the shuttle bay there at the end was to kill the other guy. I don't think he was actually going to kill.
I actually think that he might have had even more knowledge and actually basically reported them so that they'd be caught on his home turf, so that he could lend them a hand.
I don't give Garrick that much.
Yeah, credit.
I don't know. It would be giving.
That's giving him a lot.
It would be giving a lot of credit.
And then the last one, Blood Oath.
Yeah,
so good.
Klingon
Yeah,
friends.
I like Blood Oath.
Not nearly enough Koloth.
There can never be enough Koloth.
Yeah, I thought some of the personalities, like Koloth's personality in this one, does not in any way match up with his personality in
Well, it's also
the
been
Trouble
80
Tribbles.
years.
Well, I know, but if
And
everyone's lost a son.
If you're gonna be bringing back a particular character for the sake of bringing back that character, you should at least make sure you're bringing back the same character.
The actual character. Yeah, he definitely wasn't as full of nyucks.
And did you see those head ridges?
He did have a couple of good jokes though. He was kind of like, not jokes. You're no one's godfather and stuff. That felt kind of Koloth-y.
Yeah.
How did you get in here? I am Koloth.
Yeah.
Love it.
The door was wide open.
Much.
I think Kang's probably the closest to his original.
Agreed.
But I do actually really like Core. I like DS9 Core as a character, and I don't know. He's my favorite of the trio in that episode. And then
he was the one who was like good buddies with Jadzia.
Yeah, he was one that was not even questioning it.
My dear friend, my beloved friend Jadzia.
And he spent most of the episode drunk.
Yeah,
but also was super like, yeah, of course she's coming with us.
It's manages to be the only one to survive of the three.
I think we'll see him again.
The albino.
Don't learn much about him.
A mosquito.
I'm gonna say my tinfoil hat is that the albino is actually Ash
Volk?
Tyler.
What?
Yeah, Volk.
I don't know. I feel like Discovery has been playing against that.
No, he's gonna change back to being Klingon, back to his old self, and yeah.
Do you think
Spoilers for Discovery.
Be able to restore his second PP?
Oh no!
And that's why he's so mad.
Angry, yeah. That's why he hates other Klingons.
Actually, I buy that.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
He misses Laurel so much.
There we go. Jake is all caught up. So with that, it's time to launch headfirst into the Maquis.
Do we have to, though?
To steal from Ames' research.
Oh no. What was it?
This aired about a month after Journey's End.
Oh, yes.
Which, of course, is the episode where Wesley
saves the Native American people.
Yes.
By going on a vision quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was, even though TNG itself avoided serialization, DS9 was going to be like, all right.
Wait, so this...
You've retroactively serialized.
After Journey's End.
Journey's End, where we learn that there is this Cardassian demilitarized zone that has Federation colonies in it.
But what's the one with...
Preemptive Strike?
Preemptive Strike.
That's way after this.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay. I thought that Journey's End was near the end of Season 7.
No, it's kind of mid to early Season 7.
Oh, is it?
Preemptive Strike was very late.
I know, I think I was like
the
second to last episode.
I think so.
Very, very late. Yeah, where we learn more about the Maquis.
So in the Maquis,
Yeah.
a Cardassian freighter is taken off from DS9. Right before it does, some shady fucker is poking around in their door, and this somehow allowed him to implant an implosive device into their impulse engines, and the ship doesn't implode. Big old blast, and somehow the station is untouched. Rocks a little, but no damage.
Well, because it imploded.
Yeah, but then there was an explosion in the aftermath. It just didn't make sense. And needless to say, everyone's like, well, fuck. And, the Federation admirals are all like, oh, Christ, Ben, figure this out, because the Cardis are going to be pissed.
Not just any Starfleet admiral.
I was going to say, it was that admiral.
And
Bachayev!
Yep, Nechayev shows up. I think that's in episode 2,
Bitchev, that's clever. That's a portmanteau of whatever her real name is on the word bitch.
I got her good.
But yeah, everyone's
Burn.
flipping out because they're like, oh god, this is going to increase tensions in the region. The Cardassians are going to use this excuse to attack Bajor. Bajor is going to be all like, fuck yeah, come at me, bro. And it's going to be a mess. Sisko goes and visits with...
Hudson?
Yep, Lieutenant Commander Calvin Hudson. They are both old Starfleet buddies. They were in the academy together, even though Calvin is clearly 38 years older than Sisko.
38 specifically? Is that how much older the actor is?
I didn't actually look it up, but there did seem to be an appreciable gap.
Yeah, no, he seemed much older.
But supposedly, I don't know, maybe he had a different job originally. He joined Starfleet late. But anyway.
Late bloomer, it's all good.
Yeah, so he's basically the contact between the Federation colonies that are now in Cardassian space and the Federation. And, and a lot of the stuff we sort of saw in Journey's End in a way is brought up. It's like, they're the Cardassians fuck with them. They're trying to push them out of their planets. And, it is really obvious that he is very much on the colonist side as opposed to sort of a neutral party. So it is not at all a shock when it turns out, he's joined them. Not that we know who they are yet.
Diplomacy!
Yes. Meanwhile, a Vulcan is puttering around on DS9 trying to make a deal with Quark.
Eyes at Quark.
No, he makes eyes at her.
That's true.
Because, goddamn, he is nothing if not...
Horny.
Yeah, that one.
I'd say ambitious,
Oh,
but that too.
well.
It's like, maybe we'll get
Yes,
that.
I can warm the Vulcan's cold heart.
Yeah, no.
Clark. Jesus.
Down
Meanwhile, the guy that sabotaged everything,
Samuels, I think?
Sabotage.
according to your notes, yes. William Patrick Samuels. That's right, because he does his little recording. So he's captured by these ugly lizard people who must be working for the Cardassians, and they get a confession out of him, and oops, he quote-unquote kills himself in his cell, and they bring his corpse to a big meeting between the Cardassians and the colonists, and it causes
Would
a
you
whole
bring
scene.
the corpse? Oh, God.
Yeah, when even Gul Dukat
Jesus.
is like, that was dumb, because Gul Dukat
Don't bring that in here.
puttered with Sisko to this meeting because Gul Dukat's all, this is a fucking mess, and even I'm unhappy with all of it.
And he gets fucking kidnapped.
Yeah, like Sisko and Dukat had watched on long-range sensors as a bunch of logos shot at each other. Somehow, even though there weren't pictures of ships, Ben was all, I don't recognize that configuration. It's like, well, yes, because none of your ships are actually shaped like Starfleet badges, but what do I know? But yes, eventually...
You don't know that.
Gul Dukat is in fact kidnapped, and the Central Command is all good. He was the one secretly arming the colonists, and
No,
Sisko's
they just
all...
made that up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's gone? Yeah, it was his fault then.
Yeah,
Gone.
Sisko's all
Wash
like...
my hands.
Yeah, and Sisko's all like, yeah, bullshit. So he launches a rescue, and Dukat's all, well, why the hell didn't Central Command come? And he's like, oh, they're about to throw you under the bus for the whole arming the Cardassians thing. And he goes, oh, fuck. So they've got to...
That's something I would do.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Yeah, so they got to work together to foil the plan. The Vulcan was buying guns to try to attack this weapons depot somewhere in a colony, but a couple of runabouts show up and foil him, and Calvin goes off into space, and Sisko has a sad, and...
An angry sad.
Cisco Inferno.
So, yeah, now we've got a whole new thing out there. The Maquis are out there, and they're going to cause everyone trouble.
And we're going to learn much more about them in Voyager.
I guess we learn a little more about them, not much.
Well, they decided to like plant all the foundation of the of the Maquis, knowing that Voyager was coming up next,
including the Badlands.
It is very strange that they make such a big deal about establishing the Maquis and like all of this stuff in TNG and then in Deep Space Nine, and then they get to Voyager and they like drop it after like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, they're stuck in the Delta Quadrant. What else are they going to do?
But also
with it?
because, like, from what I've know is like there were all these really interesting ideas for Voyager, but Rick Berman is a hack and went.
Well, I mean, the other
like
thing
Rick
is
Berman.
like the Maquis
really good impression.
here. The Maquis, as we see them here, and as we saw them in Preemptive Strike, are like they're people defending their homes, and they're not bad people. They're people that have gotten fucked over.
They're dumb people.
Well, they're people that have gotten fucked over, as they see it, by galactic politics, and the Federation won't do shit to help them out. And you know, people shit, you know, people say, you know, oh, you know, Star Trek Picard showed the Federation as a just not good organization because they weren't going to help the Romulans with the bit out of the puppet.
I just want to check. You've been talking to Bill Cosby about Picard a lot?
They
Or
had jello jigglers.
pudding pops? Like, what is happening?
People are you know, people are shitting on Picard because, oh, you know, the Federation, they're not bad. And then it's like, well, no, because when did this air? 1994?
Yeah.
The Federation's been ambiguous since TNG. The writers just didn't realize it.
Yeah, and like showing like what they did here.
Well, and there's that moment in the second episode where, you know, Ben, like, because there's always been this weird thing. It's like, so wait a minute, how does the Federation, like, it seems so we always wonder what it's like for the civilians, and, you know, Ben goes on this whole little rant about how, like, you know, the leadership is on Earth, and you can look out the window, and, oh yeah, there, it's idyllic, but not everywhere, and you're like, okay.
The line they kind of formed the whole 2-episode arc over was, it's easy to be a saint in paradise.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing, like, oh yeah, like, it's in the Federation, on Earth and Starfleet, where there's no poverty, there's no war, there's no crime. I don't fucking believe any of that. Okay. Yeah. It's easy on Earth, but out here in the fucking Badlands, literally, things are bad. Yeah. And there's land.
Well, on Earth, there's no crime because if you commit crime, Starfleet security just beams unquestioned into your apartment. That's from an episode of Voyager I saw once.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, the other thing also that I think is worth bringing up is that this is yet more evidence that the Cardassian treaty that ended the war.
Oh, it's garbage.
Oh, it's a bad treaty.
Was very bad. Like this whole this is the culmination of things that started all the way back with the Wounded.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's what what's his name?
Captain Maxwell.
Maxwell was going on about. He's like, look, they're transporting weapons across the border.
Yeah, and Picard has to be like, nope, we have to act like they're acting in good faith, because otherwise this treaty, which is a bad treaty, I will not discount how bad this treaty is, but it's so tenuous that, like, literally, like, if these little freighters go and fire on each other, they're going to restart war between the Federation and Cardassia, which is bullshit. You don't want that either. Just fix the treaty, but that's not ever going to fucking happen.
Right.
Well, not when one of your negotiation partners is working in bad faith from the word go.
Like, how important...
Why don't you talk about Dukat like that?
I get the sense that the Federation could really kick the Cardassians' asses, right? Like...
Oh yeah, the Federation is supposed to be, like, much, much stronger than Cardassia.
So why the fuck are we so afraid of standing up to these bozos?
Because for the Federation, killing an enemy is still killing.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill them. You could just be like, no.
No, like when you're coming up against a group like the Cardassians, if you go to war, you're going to be killing them.
Well, sure, but you don't have to.
No, but the Cardassians also know that, and like they're a military state, and like dedication to the state is super important. But like dying for the state is okay, and they are also willing to throw lives against the wall. Like they'll throw lower people they don't care about against the wall because they know that for every Cardassian death, Starfleet hurts.
Oh, I think we need a caveat on this. The admirals would gladly do all of this.
Yeah.
But if they did, everyone below them, or most everyone below them, would revolt.
Speaking of admirals, I have a scene that they used in this episode, because there's that whole moment where you're watching Odo and Kira and whoever else in ops, watching Sisko in the background in his office, yelling at a screen. And they actually scripted that scene for Sisko so that he would, like, have inspiration for what his character is doing that time. They just didn't include any of the lines. And I think they also filmed and then cut the end of his confrontation with the admiral that he's radioing with, in which he takes the monitor and throws it against the wall. Oh. But they cut that. But I would love whoever wants to do the best Sisko and whoever wants to be the bitchiest admiral to
I want to be a
rewrite
bitchy
this
admiral.
screen. This scene. Who wants to be Sisko?
It's gonna have to be Rossi. He's the only other one that's gonna be able to see what we're looking at.
Here you go. You guys read what Sisko was yelling about when Odo was going on and on about how much he missed Cardassians.
Never.
Starting
Chad.
I'm just gonna read. It's like no one.
Come on, you gotta give me something to work with.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
James.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, fine.
It goes on.
Do you want me to be Sisko and you want to be the bitchy admiral?
I mean, I could be a pretty good bitchy admiral.
Jakes, do you want to do Sisko? I'm willing to give up Sisko I'm willing to give up Admiral.
I think you'd be a good Sisko.
You think I'd be a good Sisko?
Yeah, I think you could do Sisko.
By the way, for those wondering, the source of this is the Star Trek Deep Space Nine companion. God knows if it's still in print.
I got it just last year, I think.
Okay, it's probably still in print.
Oh, Sisko is listed here as bristling.
Ooh.
Oh, James.
I pointed at the word hard.
The Admiral is hard. Sisko is bristling.
Well, I'm going to be heated in a minute, and you're going to be forceful.
I don't think I'm ready for.
Do we have any adults in the room?
None. 0 adults.
I don't like the spectators.
I'm hoping I don't have to remind the Admiral how many people pass through here during a week's time. It's not possible to keep tabs on every single person while they're on the station.
If I didn't know better, Commander, I'd think you were just making excuses.
I'm not making excuses!
You're getting a little Odo there, Caitlin.
I know, sorry. Like Jake and Jake.
Remember, Jazz Shatner.
Would it be in keeping with Federation policy to frisk everyone who steps through our airlocks? To search through every room of every visitor during their stay?
Of course not, but with 2 kidnappings and a ship being destroyed, all in less than a week's time, obviously, your security measures leave something to be desired.
Security on this station is by the book. Our security program and the officers who work in it are first rate.
Then what were they doing? When all of this was happening? We here at Starfleet are watching how you resolve this situation very closely, Commander. We think it might be prudent to replace this chief of security you have.
Odo is both highly intelligent and extremely thorough. He's the most qualified person I have for the job.
Still, it would be a concrete example that you are taking active measures to resolve this situation and to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I stand behind my chief of security 100%.
That may be a mistake, Commander.
Then it's my mistake.
Then let me make my point again. Starfleet is very unhappy this happened. We want this matter taken care of immediately. I don't have to remind you how this reflects on your position.
We're doing everything we can to apprehend the kidnappers.
Don't bother me with the details. Just clean up this mess, Commander, and quickly, before this becomes a permanent stain on your record. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
God, admirals suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw the monitor across the room.
But yes, let's not overlook the fact that scene does have the whole Odo loves fascism moment.
Odo really loved
God.
He missed the way Cardassians did things so much.
Yeah, security was way tighter back then.
Does Odo ever become less of a monster, or is he just always this bad? He's a straight up fascist. Dude. He would like have he bugs people. Like, he bugs people's, like, homes and stuff.
No, they're businesses.
He does what needs to be done.
No, that's not a good excuse.
Yeah, no, I love when he's, like, complaining to Kira and whoever else is in yelling at distances. Like, man, I wish I had, like, a much bigger force. I wish you would let me bug everyone's homes. I wish you'd let me throw people up against the wall whenever I wanted to. I really want to be a rat all the time, please.
I mean, there's a very specific point in this series when Odo is the fascist, and then he realizes, oh,
I'm a fascist?
That can be abused.
Shocking.
So maybe I shouldn't go on with that anymore.
Yeah, like, obviously, he wants a certain amount of overreach. On the other hand,
He wants enough.
I can't blame the guy for tapping Quark's communication, because Quark has actually actively broken the law.
That's next week that we see him tap Quark's room.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Still, we're not surprised at all that he does it, so...
Yeah, no.
I'm sure it's already tapped.
Like, I feel like if he was tapping other people, I'd be like, ooh, that's a bit shady. But with Quark, you're kind of like, yeah, I'll give you that one.
Nah, it's just, it's like he should have a warrant for that kind of thing. Like, there's no due process whatsoever.
He's not in the Federation, right? You know, he's kind of doing his own.
But there still has to, like, there's got to be Bajoran rules on that.
Bajor sucks.
That's true.
I could easily see...
There are no rules in Bajor.
I could totally see Bajor being in the ends justify the means type group, especially right now when their government is
Well, they're kind of a theocracy, so like...
Which, yeah, that's never a good thing.
Yeah. It's probably like religious police.
It's also not...
Are you profiting from profits?
What?
It's not super unusual, unfortunately, for people who have been subjugated by other people to turn around and not see the irony when they do it to other people.
To not see the irony?
To not see the irony? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the other thing, too, though, is I, like, sort of forgive Odo because you have to remember that, like, he's not people. He wasn't raised as people.
But we've given him so much power that you'd only give a people.
Oh, no, I know that. But what I'm saying is, like, consider that he, like, was raised as a test tube thing.
Literally, a test tube.
Literally.
The first thing he formed himself as was a glass.
Yeah. See, look, I'm here. It's like that moment in Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, also then, so as soon as he gets away from test tube daddy... He's like a Cardassian law keeper. Mm-hmm. Like, of course his, like, views are a little...
Yeah, his education's a little fucked up.
That's all.
There's a lot of stuff we'll come to learn later, but something relevant for specifically right now that a friend, like, I have a friend who I watch all these with, they brought up that, like, as a shapeshifter, Odo literally brings order from chaos. Like, as they're, like, that is his existence.
Does your friend want to guest on the show?
No, because we already sound dumb enough when we have guests on.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you mean, yeah?
Listen, we just read from a book really well.
They run rings around me when it comes to these episodes, so a lot of my best lines are from them.
Thief.
Yeah, I try to mention when I've stolen it.
I know.
Yeah,
you do a nice.
He does cite his sources.
Absolutely.
You know what else he does? Goes all Mr. Fantastic at that one point. Where he's like, wait a minute.
Rossi or Odo?
Yeah, I thought it was me, and I was like, I did what?
He's all like, oh yeah, I made a goo, and he like lassoed somebody with his arm
off a ladder.
Was creepy.
How the fuck did I miss that?
I
it was in the second half when
during the rescue.
Yeah, when Dukat was being a badass.
It was during the second half when Caitlin had basically given up paying any attention because she was so bored.
It was a complicated episode,
and it was very slow. This really could have probably been one episode. Yeah. It was so slow.
Even because I know like they pat themselves on the back an awful lot because they had to spend lots of money on like the battle in space between Hudson and Sisko and three unpowered ships that were just floating around doing nothing. It just looks so bland.
Yeah, and it's just it feels like, you know, from the very, like, nothing really came as a surprise. Like Cal
Hudson, it was obvious.
Cal Hudson, like, it was like being a member or leader of the Maquis is like real obvious.
The only thing that really surprised me though about Cal Hudson was that actor was able to get an acting job.
Yeah, he was not
he
good.
He wasn't really good at pronouncing words. There was a word, Benjamin. He kept like calling him Benjamin. I was like, have you never heard or seen the word Benjamin?
There was like the scene with when they brought in the dead guy. The Cardassians brought in the dead guy.
Samuels.
And Samuels did not kill himself.
He Epsteined himself. Yeah, when they brought that guy in, and Hudson, like everybody, like the other actors in that scene for the most part were like upset.
Yeah.
And Hudson.
It stinks too. Jeez.
Just standing there being a block of wood.
Frankenstein. Yeah, that didn't...
This enrages me.
Yeah. If he'd been more charismatic, I mean, he still would have obviously have been like the leader of a resistance group, but
at least you'd understand why he was.
Yeah,
it's like, why did you put this asshole in charge?
Yeah, and like he could have been a really cool character. Yeah. Like,
I wish we'd seen some of the Native Americans from.
We saw some.
I wish we'd seen a picture of Benjamin Sisko in Lederhosen and the little hat.
He still has the hat.
I do want to see that.
I believe he said.
He did.
I know that that Ira Stephen Bear's original plan in this episode was to have Hudson die at the end, and Michael Pillars vetoed it and said no. And then as they're watching the dailies afterwards, he admits like, "Oh yeah, I can see why he probably should have died."
Yeah.
Oh well, because we're never going to see the guy again.
Yeah.
But it is, I think, better for Sisko's character to just sort of have him sadly letting him go while Dukat flips his shit.
I loved so much of Dukat these two series, which I know is surprising to everyone.
I was gonna say, what else is new? Water's
Knock
wet.
me over with a
Water's
feather.
wet. News at 11.
No, like cause we've seen bits of Dukat, swaggering around.
We've seen his bits? I haven't remember seeing his bits at all.
I'll show you some pictures.
Oh, boy.
Doing his swagger and rule the room kind of a thing. And finally we see him in a situation where he's not the one in power. And yet he's still so swaggery. Like, as he's a prisoner and Sarkana, the Vulcan bitch, can't physically do the Vulcan mind meld on him. And he's like, oh, what's the matter? You can't mind meld me? Oh. Well, that's too bad, isn't it?
It does make sense that if any society would develop countermeasures, it would be them.
We're also going to see lots more of that next week, too.
Something I found really interesting with the Maquis is how it seemed like a very, diverse and cosmopolitan group.
Yeah.
They had Klingons, they had this Vulcan lady.
It's really peculiar that it always seems like these kind of morally ambiguous groups are always really diverse. Whereas when they show the good guy Starfleet, it's always just a ton of humans for the most part.
Yeah. Mostly honkies.
Yeah. And actually it kind of brings up this kind of strange counterpoint where Starfleet are essentially the Borg.
Sorry.
Go on.
Because
Is
they
something your friend
do
said?
no, it might have been.
Is this something your friend said?
No,
wow,
so I mean it's a good point. No, it just feels like it's when Bajor is worried about being absorbed by the Federation, and that's why they keep pushing back on it, is because they're like, no, we want to be our own people, we want to have our own identity.
We suck on our own terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and I think that's a perfectly acceptable idea, is you shouldn't have to submit to an outside force just because the outside force thinks it's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
True.
Even if there are things about it that would maybe be better, that doesn't necessarily make it the right choice. And so Starfleet is basically spending a lot of time and effort trying to convince Bajor to join the Federation, everything short of shooting them with nanites and converting them, converting them physically.
We would really like your wormhole, please.
But the Federation does pretty much everything that the Borg do, where they take all of your all of your individuality, and they take anything that's good and they spread it out, and then they kind of iron over and get rid of all the wrinkles of the stuff that's not perfect.
And then make mostly everybody humans.
Yeah, and it's you become they become this homogenized thing that they don't have these differences. Hell, when a Bajoran joined the Federation, she had to fight to keep her damn earring.
Mm-hmm.
A huge part of her culture.
She wasn't joining the Federation.
Her cultural identity.
Starfleet.
Starfleet.
So Starfleet's a uniform organization.
Yeah, okay, but Worf gets to wear his sash.
But Starfleet and the Federation, they still do those things. It's they still discourage the differences in order to find this, very bland central middle, which is what, they consider easy to handle. And it's not it's other than they're not physically forcibly converting you by chopping off limbs and giving you utility arms, they're doing all the exact same things.
Starfleet is kind of like white feminism.
Where is your evidence to support this?
It's because it's what they do, and it's what the result. It's the result. It's the same result. What the Borg try to pull off is the same result as the things that the Federation.
Because I see lots of people that are in the Federation that are individuals and have their own individual identities and their own cultural identity.
But there's still an overarching glossing over and removal of differences over time. Because basically it's a big homogenization.
Well, I'd say it's a melting pot effect, maybe.
Yeah, but
that actually though that does bring to. I mean, that brings up the idea of the melting pot. The idea of the melting pot, as we think of it, was a term coined by, I am sure, some wasp in the 1920s. And what they really mean is, we just want what we like about your cultures, but also please do us a favor and
be like us.
Yeah. I'm
Taste
trying
like
to use
us.
the word other than assimilate because that's too Borg.
right.
But that's usually the term used.
But there's also, you look at some of the characters, first of all, we've only really seen a few different perspectives on Federation life.
That's true. We are mostly seeing it from the Starfleet point of view, which
is pretty human-centric.
But it's also, like you said, a military organization, which does add an extra layer.
But when we do see non-human peoples, they definitely have their own. They're not melted in the pot. They haven't assimilated You know?
But they're also not like what you associate with specifically Starfleet or specifically the Federation.
I would say
like we meet this chick Sarkana, who's this Vulcan bitch, who's looking for weapons from Quark, and she's not really prototypical Vulcan, but she's not human.
She seems very Vulcan to me. She seems
how many Vulcans deal with Quark and get weapons?
I mean,
how many Vulcans are out there fighting for the colonists? Most of them are like, fuck it, let everybody die because they're Vulcans.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she seems very Vulcan to me.
I just for kind of the last point I kind of want to make on with like the homogenization stuff.
You haven't supported your argument at all.
I think it's fine.
You can't just make an argument with no support.
No, I would say that that Starfleet and the Federation, they tend to they scoop up all of these groups and then they try to get them to conform to what they want to see.
Based on what?
Based on situations like I feel like Worf is what the Klingon is what the Federation would want like Klingons to be.
Worf,
right? It's like
he goes out and murders people out of anger.
Worf still has his individuality, but he's still wearing the uniform and
like Worf would be my example of someone who has not well assimilated
compared to
the rest.
Worf is also bad at being a Klingon, though. Worf is kind of neither and both.
Well, the thing about Worf is that he wasn't raised by Klingons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he was raised on Klingon dogma. He was raised on the Book of Klingon.
We don't see in Star Trek, we don't see a ton of people who fit their one mold very much. Like we see people who are like, oh, Troy is half Betazoid, half human. Oh, Worf was raised by humans. Oh, Spock is half human. We don't see a ton of people who fit only the Vulcan mold.
But they're all very. And I think that's the best evidence there is, right? Because Spock is, despite not being even full Vulcan,
prefers being Vulcan.
Very Vulcan and
hates his
is
human
very
side.
Distinct and gets along just fine with humans.
It's his half-human side that keeps him from being a jerk like most Vulcans.
He's still kind of a jerk.
And Worf, I feel like is the same way. He gets along with humans just fine, but he is definitely not human or even like he doesn't get things or Commander Data. Like he's incapable of assimilating in a lot of ways, despite the fact that he might want to.
Poor Data.
Aww. Poor Pinocchio.
So I don't know. I don't know if I quite buy it.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Rolarin, another example. They wanted her not to wear her earring because she was known for insubordination, and they wanted to head off her being insubordinate.
They wanted to break her.
And they were being dickheads to her when she first came on board. And I feel like the earring thing was not so much a become Starfleet as much as it was a Riker doesn't like you and wants to give you a hard time.
Well, and also maybe stop being a terrorist.
For the right reasons.
Yeah. That would be my take on it.
Yeah, because in reality, we don't see a lot of a lot of the civilian populations we saw in TNG were explicitly places that were friendly with but not part of the Federation. So we don't have a lot to base it on necessarily. I think I'm just basing it more on the fact that Star Trek, at least TOS and TNG, I think both represent what people thought of as the nice version of America when they made it. TOS was all about, boy, we sure do want resources, but we're going to ask for them nicely. And then TNG was, again, that sort of early 90s kind of boom economy. We're not really at war with anybody. Things are kind of chill. Look at our
diplomacy.
Era, yeah. So I think, you're right. There's not a lot of textual evidence. It's sort of a circumstantial case based upon who created it.
Now wait until Quark starts talking about root beer.
Yes.
And then we'll have we'll have ourselves this conversation.
Root beer?
There's a future episode where Quark makes some interesting points about root beer.
I don't want a root beer.
What kind of interesting points are there to be made about root beer?
Believe me, it'll make sense in context.
I mean, I'm sure, but it's weird.
Add an ice cream
He
soup?
has this conversation, but he talks about root beer while having this conversation.
I feel bad because that took us way off target.
It's okay.
I was mostly bringing it up because I feel like the Maquis are a much less homogenized group. I think that was more my point.
Well, they're definitely
like point.
They're definitely like they're clearly multi-ethnic.
Yeah,
right? And it's interesting that like so many different people are uniting against what they consider to be such a bad bad action by Starfleet.
Yeah, well, the Federation.
Well, so now here's the thing: are all of the Maquis people that were living on those colonies, or are these like people that come from outside?
Some must be sympathizers that have joined them.
I want to say some people were sympathizers who specifically went out to join them, but that might be vague and or incorrect Voyager information.
Well, also, I mean, I guess Rolaren is kind of in that category.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but it just does seem kind of unlikely, for example, that random Klingon was living in one of these colonies.
Yeah. No, I feel like the Klingons were like, no, this is a worthy battle worth fighting for.
Yeah, that's probably just some like Klingon.
It is a good day to die for
like,
someone
I'm so
else's
sick of
battle.
this peace. I gotta go out and find a war.
Yeah.
That's not true.
I'm here.
That's not a war.
But I do find that super interesting, and I like it does just everything about it. It feels like the show's kind of trying to portray it as like there's kind of like a moral gray area, but I'm totally with the Maquis. Like
I'm not.
I think they have every right to do what they're doing.
Start another war?
Well, I think
it's not that they're not starting a war. They're defending their home.
Yeah.
And that's how they're seeing it, and it's not about the broader picture. It's literally about their home that they have spent like pretty much their entire lives building these colonies up.
I understand
it is their
all
lives.
that. It's the thing is like they're also getting lots and lots of other people killed because
it doesn't.
They're like, I like this one patch of ground that now happens to be in the demilitarized zone when it wasn't before,
which is human nature.
Yeah, as I said, it's a very very bad treaty. But it's the treaty you've got right now.
It's the treaty that other people made for them.
It's the people that other people made for them.
They didn't have a say in it.
Yeah, but if they break it, they've now started a war with the Federation and Cardassia.
Also, it sounds like they have no problem necessarily living on the Cardassian side of the DMZ.
I don't know.
But
they just
don't
fair treatment, and they're not getting it.
I think they're more upset that the Cardassians
keep attacking them when they're not supposed to.
Keep attacking them.
Yeah.
And, there's weapons being shipped to the... because there's also Cardassians that are kind of in the same boat that are on the Federation side.
Yeah, like we see Dukat try to get in touch with these two Cardassian ships that are attacking this freighter thing. And he's like, hey, guys, don't do that. You realize there's a treaty, right? And they don't respond because they know, Dukat isn't one of us. Yeah. We don't have to listen to Dukat because he's not the one who's paying us to run weapons.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So this is one of those weird instances where Dukat, you assume that Dukat's like the company man. He's the Cardassian, but he's been shut out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
He like at first you're like, okay, Dukat has showed up to quote unquote help.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna know just from context that he's a baddie this episode, and then he's not.
It was definitely a big change.
But he was legitimately there. Yeah, he was there. He really did want the same thing that Sisko wanted the whole time. There was no duplicity at all. He just was like, yeah, let's end this fucked up shit that's happening. Which is, one of those things about Dukat that I find very interesting is that, he's clearly a bad guy, but he's not always the bad guy. Sometimes there are worse guys.
Sometimes he's just the naughty guy.
Yeah, he's very much following, like, his own ideas of what's right.
He has 7 kids, he says. He's so fertile.
Which, I mean, I do want, like...
They're all from different mothers, I bet.
Whose cloaca did those come out of?
I think I think we're going to find out eventually that Cardassians just... They're hermaphroditic, and they just lay their eggs.
Yikes.
I mean, they are lizard people, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, there's lots of hermaphroditic lizards, so...
But, no, I was going to say... what was I going to say before we start talking about cloacas? Oh, yeah. I do kind of... Obviously, we know from earlier episodes that, the Cardassians do place a lot of importance on family. Mm-hmm. So, like, on the one hand, he very well may have 7 kids. On the other hand, it's Dukat. He might just be lying. Like, I kind of wonder if we ever get confirmation of his...
We meet at least some of his kids.
It's more like 35 kids. If anything, he was shooting low.
No, 7 litters of kids.
It really should have been. There's 7.
A litter of Cardassians can be
that I acknowledge.
6 to 10 children per litter. Yikes.
Yeah. Now there's 70 acknowledges, and then God knows how many more.
We start this episode with more boy talk with Dax and Kira, and it was fucking painful. It's better than Bev and Troy. But not much, and I'm so sick of it. And the thing is, I know the writers.
Okay, but do your boobs feel firmer?
Oh God.
We got Berman here. This is
I know. I know the writers give
themselves
all this credit, being like, oh yeah, like you think of Kira, she's kind of like this little macho thing, and she's a little Jack Russell Terrier of a woman, and she'll talk about boys sometimes. And then you think about Dax, who's dated basically everyone in the universe at this point.
Apparently a Ferengi at some point.
Hot. And it's like, have we not learned anything by what we've done horribly wrong in past series?
Nope.
With women talking about boys and how no one fucking cares. I'm done. I'm fucking done with it.
Yeah.
I do give Berman a tiny bit of credit, because they originally had, for Sarkona, the Vulcan lady, they originally had a much more revealing, sexy outfit for her, and Berman said no.
But that's pretty bad.
I don't know, but her outfit did make me pay a lot of attention to her tits.
I mean, she's still a Vulcan female, but
this damask patterned
but it's still Vulcan
under boob area.
It's still a Vulcan outfit rather than just a sexy outfit.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't notice.
That was very nice.
Yes, it was good for Berman to finally show some fucking restraint.
I think it's just because he was standing up for Vulcans, not that he was standing up for women.
Yeah, and he will certainly decide to stop standing up for Vulcans when we get to Enterprise.
That's true.
Yikes.
I did there was that exchange between her and Quark. He goes, "Are you trustworthy? I'm a Vulcan. So no then."
Quark fucking walked all over this bitch, and I loved him in the second part of the episode where he's explaining how much easier it is to do peace. If you look at it as a deal, and I'm like, oh my god, Quark is 1000% right, and this Vulcan is an idiot.
If there was profit in it, Ferengi would be the best negotiators in the galaxy.
Sometimes there is profit in it, and they are.
But they should be on every diplomatic corps,
Put him in these peace talks with the Maquis, you'll be fine.
So does Quark just not actually get into any trouble ever?
No,
selling military weapons to terrorists.
200 photon torpedoes.
That's why, like I said, I know that's next week, but I think that's why it's kind of justified. Maybe, look, you should be in prison, so since you're not, you lose a right or two. That's all.
No, how does he get out of these things that he's involved
in?
No,
but the actual bugging is...
Yeah, oh no, the bugging, but when he sold...
Yeah, no, he sold this,
so much military hardware.
How does he get it all? Jesus God.
Well, this one, it sounds like this one he was just a middleman.
Yeah. Yes, but still, that's still an enormous crime.
Yeah.
Odo at one point was like, how long do you want me to have him stay in here? And Sisko says,
forever. I loved that.
I also like that.
It's so funny.
Maybe it's not illegal. Maybe
I'm pretty sure acting as a middleman in an arms deal is still super illegal.
Well, I guess it depends on
where the weapons came from.
Where the weapons came, yeah.
And maybe
you're just hooking up people actually selling weapons. The
law could be naive. It may not be illegal according to the letter of the law.
Also, it's Bejor, so who knows? Yeah, they probably don't even have a law.
Nope. No law.
Not for weapons.
Another salty Sisko moment I really liked in this episode.
Oh my god, salty Sisko corner.
Was that Sisko has a button on his desk that opens his door.
Opens his door to let you know that you should leave.
Yeah, Kira was being like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he just hits a button on his door, and the door opens, and he just turns around.
Oh man! He had originally asked Miles to install a trapdoor in the
floor. Miles says, "But then that would go out into space."
I know.
Can't we put a ball pit down there?
Ooh. O'Brien probably just wouldn't do it because he knew he'd be the first to go. Because he knows the secrets.
Keiko has one in their room. Whenever she's done with him, he's like, "Get out of here, Miles. Go away."
At the beginning of the first episode, Cal had this intense sexual energy when he shows up.
Yeah, because they were talking about
when he's talking to Sisko. I was like, God, they're gonna make out.
Because they're talking about the old days when they would hang with fucking Curzon, and if Curzon's involved, sexual energy's involved.
But there was a sensuality going on.
She may not be Curzon, but she is Dax.
Yeah.
She may not be. We should not hit on her. But she's very sexy, and that's weird, and we feel really conflicted about this.
I thought that whole scene was really creepy anyway, though, because he's like, "Oh, you're sticking it to her?" It's like, no, she's my fucking subordinate. What do you mean?
My subordinate and my friend.
And 20 years younger than me now.
Cal's but I always wanted to fuck Curzon.
Also, see, that would have been funny if he was like, I like Curzon more.
Aww.
Cal is also apparently the only other person in the galaxy aside from the Siskos and that one scientist that knows baseball.
Yeah.
Stubbs, thank you.
Stubbs.
That's why he had to live. There needs to be just more people in the galaxy. You know? He introduces baseball to the Maquis, who are all immediately like, this is dumb.
They're all playing soccer instead. They're fine.
Dumb Jot and Parisi squares.
What's about the dude's hair, the Maquis dudes, that like, I don't know, it was like
that kind of nameless guy we didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't get a name from him, but he was kind of like the main guy. But he had like a real nice kind of mullet fro thing going.
No, I didn't. I just noticed it was generically slicked back.
It was it was a real tight curls. It was really tight. Yeah,
I don't remember. So, I remember him.
It was a pretty good look. I liked it.
Also being a slightly mediocre actor.
Well, he didn't
not as bad as Cal.
He didn't do as much. He was just always there. I think it was like...
I just found him very dry. Like, so much of the episode was so dry, which I made a comment being like, how is an episode that has so much Dukat and so much Quark so fucking dry? And I think it's between all of our Maquis friends being just sucky.
They go back and forth from the station to a planet, to the station to a planet, and
to floating around in a shuttle pod.
Also, there's so much going back.
It's also kind of a hard episode to follow the it's a geopolitical intrigue. So when you're working very hard to follow what's actually happening in the plot.
Yeah, it's setting up this exposition of what is the Maquis. We have to give you as much information as we can, whilst also still being an episode. It's a good fucking luck.
But then I feel in the future the Maquis just become terrorist baddies, you know,
that tracks.
Like in this one, they're people that are defending their home. In the future, it's kind of like they're evil. There's a bad man. I guess maybe it is a thing though, where all right, if you have a terrorist group and the terrorist group is originally set up with noble goals and a revolutionary ideal, it's going to probably attract people that just want to fight.
Yeah.
So you probably are going to get some evil, just straight up evil people mixed in.
Something that might actually be interesting and relevant even is the origin of the term the Maquis.
I wrote something down.
So in World War II, they were French resistance fighters, and Maquis roughly translates to the bush or shrub, and that's where they would hide out. They'd be outside the cities and kind of these shrublands, and they were very loosely affiliated, and they had widely varying different ideologies and very different personal goals. And so when it comes to whether the Maquis are good or bad guys, depending, I don't know if the writers probably eventually just made them a monolithic group that was led by one person essentially, but at least the idea
Hudson?
But at least the idea that they were inspired by is something that is very loose and very no huge leadership or anything.
And they start off feeling very loose because we have all these people. It's what. How are you all working together? You all seem to not be fighting for the same things.
Yeah, they're mostly just we don't like the Cardassians, they shouldn't be here. And some people are probably more military than others.
They're probably more you shouldn't specifically be on my planet, or you shouldn't be amassing weapons, or another person might be this Cardassian stole my wife, therefore I hate them. So damn it, Dukat and all of your children.
So the ideology, might vary cell to cell.
Right. I doubt the text bears that out ultimately.
It'll be something to keep an eye out for as we go on. But that's what the original would have been like.
Yeah.
One might be a bit more bloodthirsty than the other, etc.
Yeah, and often they were groups that wouldn't have gotten along under normal circumstances whatsoever, and were it not for
Klingons and Vulcans.
Yeah, were it not for German occupying forces, they may have been at war amongst themselves. Period. So,
well, interesting. I don't think the Maquis are going to be around too long in the grand scheme of things. So.
This episode did, I think it introduced, because I don't think I'd seen these things before, and I commented to Jake being what the fuck is that thing? Because Jake called it an isolinear rod. It looks
I've seen those before.
It looks like a test tube that's filled with a drink that Quark would give you.
The little root beer tubes.
Yeah, but they're full of They're basically...
It's not liquid, they're glass. They're just glass.
They look like
They're little glass
beverage.
rocks. They're the same.
Every time someone hands one to another person, I think they're giving them a drink, like a special of the day drink.
Quark
it's like a USB stick.
I hate them.
They're Quark's little security chips.
They're this series equivalent of the wood blocks from TOS.
The wood blocks.
I hate them.
Or the glass isolinear chips from TNG.
See, those at least look like something that you would put information on. The wood blocks look like wood blocks that you're making like a structure out of for toddlers.
I think the wood blocks were supposed to be little tapes.
Yeah, they were like... they were floppy diskettes.
These things do not look like something that you would put information on. I think they look really stupid.
I agree with that.
I think they're...
I get confused whenever I see them.
It's the same technology as the isolinear chips. It's just the Cardassian version of it.
It's a tube now. Well, I think the Federation...
It's a tube that looks like something that you'd order at a bar.
Well, wait until we get to...
It's one of those little extra shots that they'll sling on to your margarita at Chili's.
They do that at Texas Roadhouse. We got angry one day because they gave us one without us asking.
But they literally are. They're like little test tubes that just kind of hang... Or do they actually sometimes stick them into the drink? I don't remember which it is. But either way, they basically look like little test tubes with extra liquor.
Well, wait until we get to Voyager when the Voyager equivalent of this technology are little pouches of goo.
Yes.
Oh no!
I thought you were gonna say cups of coffee. That's all I know about Voyager is coffee. Coffee would be great.
So
later on, I'm gonna make coffee.
Do we have any further thoughts on this episode? I mean, I know we haven't talked about it specifically, but it has generated some, I think, interesting conversation.
Here's a note. Yeah, Dukat. Punch the woman in the face. I love it.
I missed that.
Oh, he punched Sarkana in the fucking face when he was being kidnapped, and then everybody else fucking shot him.
That's right, he did. I forgot about that.
And I was like, yes, do that. She deserves it, the bitch.
He's just lucky that they didn't resort to a Klingon mind flayer after the mind meld didn't work.
The mind meld thing was super messed up. Using that as like a weapon against someone.
Oh, well we've
literally seen Spock
do that. Star Trek 6. His worked.
Brain rape. What's her face?
Yeah, no, it's
Valeris. I was gonna say, what's her name? What was the
Savick?
Yeah, that's it. I was gonna say
Savick.
No, I know.
In the original script, it was Savick, but then they made it Valeris because they wanted Savick to remain nice.
But yeah, no, that it was interesting because I remember thinking of it. It's like, oh, it's Star Trek 6, only it's not working. And I think the script was less aware of how fucked up it was. Mm-hmm. Whereas 6, it was very consciously like, this is a bad thing that's happening right now.
Don't meet your heroes, kids.
There was also a fun moment where Dukat is informed that, hey, Central Command says they're not coming for you. They say that you should be executed. They say that you're the one who's been running guns and that guns have actually been run. And Dukat just kind of turns away and says, he just says, they never bothered to tell me. And he was like really sad that he wasn't trusted to lie about something.
Oh, yeah.
That they didn't give him information.
Yeah, I made a note that in the second half of the 2-part episode, Dukat was in such a kind of flippant mood most of the time, and when he's being flippant, he has the same delivery style as Garak has. Because he doesn't have that, I'm on top of things, swagger, look at my fucking shoulders and neck. He has this, I have to think about things now because things are weird, and how am I going to get through this? Will I live? Damn it.
Yeah, no, a counter scheme was definitely happening somewhere that he was not ready for. I kept
he still came out on top.
He did, because that's what he does. That's what Ducky does. Ducky is the plan boy.
Ducky. I don't like Ducky.
You talking about, like, from Pretty in Pink?
No, just calling Dukat Ducky.
But why?
Because it's a fun little nickname.
He would kill you.
I know, but he can't get me, so...
I don't know. He made one comment where I think the line was, I'm not any Cardassian, I'm Gul Dukat, and I squeed so hard.
That's a good line.
He's great. He's fabulous.
Good old Dukat.
Kira was interesting these episodes. Because you'd think that she'd be pro-war all the time. And yet she's like, I guess I'll go and fight the Maquis for you. Done.
She's seen enough war.
And also, like, if war broke out again between the Federation and the Cardassians, like, Bajor would be right in the crossfire.
Yeah, but she's in on that. She likes that.
Yeah, but then there's a chance the Cardassians are back, and
They're always back. They're back already.
No,
that's the Romulans you're thinking of. But yeah, no, I just feel like that's more like, she's just like, you know what? No, we're Poland. I don't need to be invaded again.
I don't know if that's a Kira thing though. I think that might be another Bajoran kind of a thing. I think if she saw Cardassians acting like the Cardassians were acting this episode, she'd be like, "Oh goddamn, fuck them," and not, "Oh fuck the Maquis," who I could probably sympathize with.
Yeah, I feel like she would probably just join the Maquis ultimately.
And that's what Rollaren did.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Not spoilers. We already watched that.
I know, but it hasn't happened yet in the timeline.
I think it is that tension we've come up with before with Kira, where she is attempting to eschew her freedom fighter nature in favor of
Peace.
State building. And this is a case where the state building side kind of won out. If you had to explain why it happened, other than just the writers didn't feel like having a scene where she got mad about it.
I think it's just showing that she's becoming domesticated.
Yeah, there was a moment where it's like,
Federation is assimilating her, Jake.
I think you're right.
When she learns that Quark can give all these weapons to the Vulcan lady, I'm sure she was like, "Oh, damn it. I should have allied with Quark from day one."
Seriously.
But she did, like, literally from day one.
Yeah, but she never asked him for weapons.
I mean...
She asked him to be an alibi when she killed a guy.
An alibi when she killed a guy.
Which Quark is like, all right, I'll say I banged her.
Typical Quark.
Giggity.
Oh, Quark.
I know, every time I think Quark is like a pretty good guy, I just keep remembering back for when he used to...
Yeah, creepy.
Having sex with his Dabo girls.
I mean, he was trying to have sex with the Vulcan. So.
Yeah,
was he like...
There was two conversations, and I think they both could have been very interesting, seeing the Vulcan and the Ferengi, like, cultures collide. But the first one is just Quark being a super creep the whole time, to such an insane degree. And then the second conversation, when he wasn't trying to get into her pants, he was actually having, like, an interesting discussion that I wanted to hear. And
that was a good discussion.
Maybe was he hoping that like maybe she was near Pon Farr and was gonna need him? Like how
he can wait 7 years. He's all right. He's got a long timeline.
We appreciate good ears.
That was a good line.
Yeah, that was good.
I like that from.
God, if a Ferengi and a Vulcan ever banged, what
really
would the
big
child,
pointy ears,
like
huge pointy ears,
2 lobes.
Do we see
like
Ferengi?
Bat Boy?
I don't think we see Ferengi hybrids really, though. Do we?
Not that I remember.
I don't think so.
Maybe they're not compatible.
Well, she got hands.
No, I mean, for in terms of having offspring.
No, I understand.
But gross.
Thank you.
Yeah,
just nothing but umox. Ugh.
I'm trying to picture it because the Ferengi don't have eyebrows either. So like what? Because would the eyebrows wind up on the huge butt head, or would they just like what? How does
maybe they would just grow up onto the ears?
God.
There's just so many questions as to what that would look like.
Yeah, what would their skin tone be?
Right, because
would they have nice teeth or horrible teeth?
Probably nice teeth.
God, honestly though, if you think about it,
easier for makeup.
A Vulcan probably couldn't naturally give birth to a Ferengi with those big fucking heads and ears. They've just got big fucking heads. It's like pugs can't naturally give birth. They always have to have C-sections because they're little bodies with big fucking heads.
I didn't know that. That's
I don't know if it's all pugs, but I know that it is a
I know
common
it's a thing.
pug issue.
I imagine
I know it's a thing with bulldogs. I believe.
Maybe that's what it is.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ferengi like ear cartilage doesn't harden until well after birth, just for the sake of the mother.
But still
though, what about the fucking skulls?
No, baby skulls are the same thing.
They come out squished.
Human baby comes out
They're
squished.
disgusting.
Well, yeah, but also probably...
For all we know, Ferengi are marsupial.
Hey, there you go.
Oh,
the mothers have a little pouch.
Little baby kangaroos are
you're
gross.
They're
like little jelly beans.
Yeah, and they have to crawl out of the vagina.
Yeah.
Into the pouch.
Up the mom into the pouch and then hang out in there.
It's like the most...
With a nipple.
It's the most...
imagine a tiny little jelly bean Ferengi climbing out of the mother.
Itty bitty Armin Shimmerman.
Like, honestly,
profit!
With that.
Wow. We did it, guys.
Wow, if you like that and you want to hear more, you sick
I liked that.
Fuck. This has been a Star to Steer Her By, and you can find us where all fine podcasts are sold.
We're not sure why they let us in with the fine podcasts, but there you are.
Well,
fine.
it's something behind the counter for the bums to listen to or something. I don't know. That was whatever that was. Classist. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Facebook by searching A Star to Steer Her By. You can also find us on Twitter and Tumblr as @SSHB Podcast, or you can visit us at sshbpodcast.com. That right now is just a link to the Tumblr, but you should check it out anyway. You will not be disappointed. There are lots of fine essays, great wrap-up posts about our favorite episodes each season, and our wonderful homemade fanfic, not store-bought.
Our fanfics are great.
They are great. I have been Caitlin.
What are we doing next week?
I don't know. Fucking up the outro again, probably.
Yep.
Next week, we're going to talk about 2 more Deep Space Nine episodes that will hopefully be more interesting than this shit. Though I will say, considering how boring I found the episodes, this was a super, super interesting conversation. So
thank Rossi's friend.
Thank you, Rossi's friend.
I hope you're listening.
No, definitely not.
It's
Rossi's friend. Rossi doesn't recommend this podcast.
Do they listen when you're on the podcast, maybe?
More likely.
Okay, great. We'll have you on all the fucking time. Maybe next week, too. Who knows?
Maybe. Can I go home?
No.
It's been a while.
Someone break his knees.
I wish we had chains to rattle. Like he's just been cooped up here for months.
I spaced. Have we said what we're doing next week yet?
No.
My God!
Next week we're going to talk about The Wire and crossover.
Wait. That's a whole series. We don't have time for that.
We do. We're going to have to make
coming.
it. Omar, yep. You're gonna
Fill
have
it
to...
in one episode.
Where's it take? Is that in Baltimore?
Yep.
Yes.
I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
I've been James.
Hey,
you might know me from the Tales of the Wise Wizard King podcast. That's not the whole name.
Have you released any more episodes?
No, I
yet?
haven't, but there's 4 and I like all 4 of them.
They're good.
There's that.
I second this. They're good episodes.
Thank you.
I added you to my queue. I haven't listened yet, but I have you in my queue.
Yay.
Yes.
I have not listened and I don't intend to.
That's fine.
Wow.
Oh my God.
They're short. Come on.
All right. Rule of acquisition 112, I think. Don't sleep with the boss's sister.
I thought we did that one already.
Whatever. I don't have
Wait, no, there was a
this
new
week.
one this week. There's a new one. It's in my notes.
Was there? Hurry up.
Why are you doing Caitlin's job?
Yeah. Why am I not doing my job?
That's a better question.
Fuck.
Oh.
Well, what I mean is...
What was it, Chris?
It was a low number.
Yeah, it was. It was like, you forgot rule of acquisition number 3.
No, it's 214. He also mentioned 3, but the first was 214. Never begin a business negotiation on an empty stomach.
Oh, that's right.
That's a good rule.
3, which does come up later, never spend more for an acquisition than you have to.
That was a good conversation.
I feel like that would be number 1.
What is number 1?
What is number 1? Oh. I am not a number. I am a free acquisition.
Number 1 is if the Nagus wants it, it's his.
Woof.
Adjust for daylight savings time.
Oh, God. It's the fucking worst.
It is. It super sucks. Like,
It
I get out of bed this
sucks.
morning and I realize, oh no.
Oh, fuck.
It's so late.
Am I going to be getting up in the dark again?
I've slept so long.
I hate that. All right, everyone shut up.
Yay!
Shut up, shutting up.
No.
Yeah, and then having to acclimate back to getting up when the sun's in your fucking face when it's like wasn't there last week.
Why do we do this?
It's the worst.
I don't know, because a bunch of farmers did it 200 years ago, and this is America, where we refuse to fucking update anything because it might offend Jesus.
Is that why?
No.
Sounds right.
No, it's not.
Jesus is very uppity.
Isn't it because business?
I don't think there is actually
Supposedly it's
a
because
good,
school
clear reason.
children.
Well, I would
Oh,
love it
fuck
if we...
them!
Yeah, no,
they're the
definitely
worst.
fuck them.
Little shits.
I would definitely be good with just forgetting the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just let's call the whole thing off. It'd be great.
All right, let's do whatever this is.